Hello, this is Steven Out. We're back with another Batman 66 episode review. Today, we'll be reviewing Penguin's Disastrous End, which is the third part to this three-part. Without further ado, let's hop into the review. When we last left off the dynamic duo in this three-parter, they were put in some kind of garbage crusher, essentially to compress them to death and kill them. Open credits when we get back to where they are. They managed to use some gas that they use to pump up the Batmobile's tires when the automatic repair system doesn't work, to essentially combating the garbage crusher's compressor with air pressure to essentially help them out of the situation. Don't know whether the science worked, but it did. Just as that happened, Penguin and his crew are putting away the armor, and he's just about ready for his big caper, and Marsha and Aunt Hilda come in and prepare the potion, but the lizard that were essential to it is gone. However, even though they do have the toad, the potion won't be as strong. So in order to help the potion, Aunt Hilda is going to do the 7 Veils as a terrific combination to help make it work. We then cut back to Batman and Robin in Commissioner Gordon's office explaining everything. Where the Commissioner explains to Batman about the files that were stolen, but they were declassified ones, so long lost to the military's history it would take forever to find out which ones were stolen. And on top of all that, Chief O'Hara says there are crazy lizards running over the city, and they're weird looking ones. Batman and Robin managed to make the deduction that it must be courtesy of Aunt Hilda. But just as that's happening, the Penguin's plan is already kind of beginning to go in motion. Batman and Robin then end up at Aunt Hilda's, well, let's say grotto, where they find one of the goons and interrogate, where he is trying to break into the safe that's housing all the rare armor. However, what ends up happening, he refuses to tell the rest of Penguin's plan, but he says he plans to put Gotham in the soup. And Batman says, "Thank you, you just given me a clue to Penguin's caper," which he's confused. Batman then tells Robin soup. What are types of soup? He gets the word bullion. Bullion as a gold bullion, which is being held in the Gotham City Reserve. Just as that's happening, Aunt Hilda and Marsha are essentially doing their distraction. Marsha with her 7 Veils dance, and the Penguin is men getting in this safe where the bullion is stored secretly, along with all this equipment. And just as that's happening, Marsha and Aunt Hilda then use the special potion that she's made to essentially cause the guards to freeze and stand still. Just as that's happening, Batman and Robin arrive, but Penguin and Marsha manage to run into the safe, where essentially they get locked in, where Batman, Robin, Chief O'Hara, and Gordon think they've won, but they're not, because what's happening is, as they are locked in, they need to come out for air, for food. What are they doing in there? And it turns out Penguin is constructing something, with the plans and the bullion somehow helping. And this is going on for days. They are still starstruck what's going on. We get fun scenes of what Penguin is doing on the inside. I'm laughing every minute of it. And eventually they go to head outside to find out what's going on. The building is surrounded, but what happens is the burst through the wall is a solid gold tank. As a result, things make sense. He's built a solid gold tank and now plans to use it to essentially destroy and cause destruction all over Gotham for his own evil ends, to essentially become Gotham's most powerful and influential figure. Now, I've got problems with this. How's this problems with this? The ammunition. It has to be made out of gold, and as the tank is going around, Penguin is complaining about the ammo, of how much it's costing. How is this tank really going to help? It cause destruction, yes, but it also kind of fits out of Penguin's character. He doesn't cause mass chaos or havoc like this. This is not really in his repertoire to what he does. I kind of feel there's a lot of things missing. But despite that, they do set up the scene how the tank can crush a car as it crushes one of the police cars, though which Chief O'Hara was in, but he does survive. Comedically, of course. And just as that's happening, Batman and Robin then chase the tank all across the city in the Batmobile. I admit, I do love the idea of that, and I will admit, it is set up pretty nicely, but it also ends rather abruptly, as Robin uses essentially the Bazooka to fire at the tank, essentially causing it to pull over, and he has no choice but to admit defeat. We then end the episode with Bruce, Dick, and Harriet and Alfred watching essentially the film the Penguin made. Marsha and the Penguin is also revealed. Marsha and Penguin have been sent to prison, but Aunt Hilda has actually gone back to some kind of cooking school, where she was in the previous episode, and she said she would have never have left if it wasn't for Aunt Hilda. We get a nice little funny remark from Aunt Harriet and Alfred joining in. It's fun, and it says next time Batman and Robin will be once again up against the Riddler. The main cast here is kind of, again, average at best. It's fun, it's okay, I have no problems or complaints, but the scenes with Alfred and Harriet are fine, the main cast is alright, but of course, let's be honest, we are always here for the villains. That's why we've always been here for these episodes. Burgess Meredith as Penguin is still fun and entertainable as always. He's really milking this up, and I believe that this, arguably written-wise, this is a good script for Penguin to work with. However, I feel the execution probably wasn't done so well. Like I said, the characterization is done very well with Penguin. My problem I will have here, though, is motivation, and it also feels out of character for Penguin to go causing havoc. This is not his MO. He's more sophisticated criminal. Does he take charge of his operations? Of course he does. But he doesn't go full-on rampaging like this. I feel that it's kind of not well right. It doesn't feel right, per se. And that's an honest opinion. And everyone's entitled, but I feel that this is something just way off. The fact that this is the last time we'll see Marsha is kind of sad, as I will admit, despite having problems with her character in her first outing, I'm starting to really warm up to her in this outing. She works well with Penguin, the two really do well together, and it's a sad thing that she will never come back. I don't know, but I can also see why, because if you think about it, she's not that really interesting or that intimidating of a villain. She has unique motivations, yes. She's unique villain with the sort of making men fall under her control, but at the same time, some of those characterizations that don't follow into the story, and I can also see why people may not like it. Again, I like the diamond obsession because she is a woman. And I do kind of like to play a little bit of fun into that. And I kind of, even though I could see why people will be upset to see her go, I see why people won't. I'm mixed with this character. I still think these three-parters kind of turn me around. Do I still have problems with her? Yes. But I can see that Jones here is really pulling out all the stops to make this character work. And what makes it work is Aunt Hilda. Aunt Hilda is arguably one of my favorite bits about the Marsha character. She's just so fun and enjoyable. She's arguably what makes Marsha work as a character, because it explains why she gets all this stuff for this love potion things to do, as it's clear she's not smart enough to do it herself. She needs some assistance. And it's kind of sad that just as like this was the last time we'll see Marsha, I'm really more upset this is the last time we'll see Aunt Hilda. She was arguably one of my favorite bits about not just the Marsha character, but it was clear that she was meant to be a sort of a little wink to the Addams Family, which is what Carolyn Jones' first, arguably most famous break came from. Penguin's Disastrous End is an okay episode to this three-parter, but however, I will admit, this three-parter does not feel quite right. It should have been a two-part story compared to a three-parter. Despite that, I can't deny I can't get some enjoyment out of it. I can, but it's only just. Anyway, that's my feelings about this three-parter. Not as good and not as well written. And almost a bit of this three-parter is a drag compared to the Joker and Penguin's team-up three-parter, which was enjoyable all the way. It's fun, but I feel it could have been done a little bit better. And there we have it, the Penguin's Disastrous End. Join us next time, we will finally be back with that green-tided whack job himself, the Riddler. Can't wait for that one. So tune in for the next Steven hour, the same Steven time, ladies and gentlemen. So long for now.